The COVID-19 pandemic has created a disruptive new normal for everyone through shelter-in-place orders and social distancing guidelines. But for the hundreds of thousands of urban poor, these guidelines aren't just burdensome, they are essentially impossible. Social distancing is a critically important response to the pandemic, but it also assumes that residents have adequate space, services, and social safety nets to survive such an order. To understand more about the crisis confronting the urban poor, we are joined by Dr. Johannes Coetzee, a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Human Sciences at the Namibia University of Science and Technology. Very good evening to you, Dr. Coetzee, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Johannes, for the opportunity.
Firstly, what is your overall assessment of the COVID-19 pandemic on the impact of COVID-19 on the urban poor?
It is absolutely disastrous. The urban poor, as indicated last year already by the President, is a humanitarian crisis. That was even before the drought. Now, about 420,000 people living in the informal sector, contributing about 12% to the GDP, are without any income. It is disastrous from a point of view that they can't retain the dignity. To apply social distancing in rooms where 3 and 4 people have to live in a room is almost impossible, as you know. And the impact is also that there are also organizations involved, like the Shack Dwellers Association, Federation of Namibia, and the National Housing Action Group. But in general, it is a disaster because those are the most vulnerable group in society that can afford a loss of income less than anybody else. They don't have pension, don't have medical, don't have social security, and still...
Now, the government introduced the emergency income grant to assist the most vulnerable that you have just mentioned. What do you think about this initiative, and how sustainable is it?
I think the idea is very novel and very recommendable, and I have to applaud the government on that. It's fantastic. But at this stage, it seems that it's only once off, $750 if I'm correct. I mean, how long can it sustain people that is without a job? I mean, some of them, it can't even pay their rent. So we have the Bankers Association of Namibia and the Economic Association of Namibia estimated that the informal sector need about 200 million per week. So that 750 million once off is absolutely disastrous. It is, it's a good intent, but we don't have the funds. We don't know yet from the Ministry of Finance if we have received foreign funds, because they don't want to acknowledge it, and we don't know if the emergency fund payout will be repeated.
Dr. Coetzee, there are those who say that the coronavirus is somewhat of a blessing in disguise because it's revealing the breadth of economic and social inequalities. Post-COVID-19, do you see an urgency in speeding up things like affordable housing?
Absolutely. It becomes a very essential. At NUST, we have also a National Alliance for Informal Settlement Upgrading. As part of a Faculty of Natural Resources and Spatial Sciences. And it's absolutely essential that people living in informal settlements, that they get affordable housing and secure of tenureship. And the municipality and also the Transnamib is involved in providing more toilets to people. Some water lines, to extend water lines to people. Some places don't have water lines, so we need to get water tankers to them for water. So from a housing and point of view and the emergency of that, it is fantastic to speed up the process. The immediate or long-term problem is that if we're going to be for extended period into lockdown, that funds will not be forthcoming. The private sector will not be able to assist. So we have to end the lockdown as soon as possible for that opportunities, these that are indicated now, that it actually realized.
Lastly, Johan, the coronavirus itself, of course, is the immediate risk, but what greater risks do you see coming down the track for poorer people in urban settings?
Well, people stay at home, they don't have income, they become depressed, they lose hope. I think suicide rates can also increase. We have already a huge suicide problem the last few years already. Then gender-based violence, because more people stay at home. Rape will increase. People with psychological issues and challenges will increase. People can't access information. Some of my students, don't have smartphones, and that is a big problem for implementing e-learning, for example. It's a huge problem because we're going to be lacking behind, even if from a university's point of view, we roll out e-learning. If students don't have access, like in Kenya, where schools all have internet access, as far as I know, that's actually what we should do. In Namibia as well, it was promised a few years ago, I think 2 ministers of information before us, before the current one, but it never happened. And then the loss of income is one of the main things. And then the possible vaccination is a bigger risk.
Right.
So I would warn people in the rural areas and people in informal settlements not to take any vaccination at all.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, that was Dr. Johannes Coetzee, Senior Lecturer, the Faculty of Human Sciences at NUST, just helping us better understand the crisis confronting the urban poor.